Hello everyone. We're gonna be doing something a little different from my typical videos. We're gonna be doing a sort of deck list slash profile for Yu-Gi-Oh! We are looking at a Materiactor Dragon Rulers deck list. Um, I had saw I had seen a deck list available online on through Twitter. I believe it was through Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization, one of those like group tweets that they not group tweets, like one of those group pages where they like tweet a lot of like upcoming news and whatnot. And they had posted a Materiactor Dragon Ruler deck list, and it got me intrigued because Materiactors was a deck that kind of caught my interest a little bit. It's a bunch of rank 3 monsters, level 3 monsters, and they go into rank 3 monsters. And me being a dragon kind of guy, I wanted an Xyz based deck, and then when Dragon Rulers came out, they also became more focused on Xyz themselves. But we're not talking about Dragon Rulers. Let me go back to Materiactors. Sorry, the Materiactors. I had decided to run these guys in the Yu-Gi-Oh! YCS Orlando earlier this year, back in what was it, April, I believe. I went 4-4 with the deck, so it wasn't amazing, but wasn't too bad either. I was able to hold my own versus like Ryzios and Malice, but it was usually one-sided if the Ryzio or Malice went first. It didn't run the Fiendsmith package because this is I run very budget decks. I don't like running very expensive decks. I'm gonna be honest. So I'm gonna try and show you like very budget-friendly decks for the most part. As you can see, this one, according to this Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, runs about $45, so pretty budget if you ask me. Anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you the deck list that I've come up with. I feel like this deck list runs pretty well. It bridges into quite a few things for both Materia Actors and Dragon Rulers. So let me go ahead and show you. So I'm running three Dragon Blasters because I like to keep one in my deck just in case of anything, because I feel like I do a poor job of managing my resources sometimes. So I think keeping three blasters in the deck is ideal to use later on for your Chasma. We'll go into that later. We run two titles. Two of every Dragon Ruler is pretty ideal, I would say, so pretty nice. Two Tempest. This is going to be one of your main searchers, but not through Tempest. We're going to use it through a different way. I'll show you guys a little later. Two Redoxes. We also use this guy as an extender in case we don't need to use Tempest. We can use Redox's Revival instead. Again, we'll go into more detail about that later. We run one Redicon, Reactan. I'm going to pronounce a lot of these names wrong, so please, please excuse me. We're going to run one stream. Generally, you're running one of every baby ruler. We're going to run three Materiactor Exoraptors. These guys are a pretty simple normal special summon. You discard a card to special summon itself, and you retrieve a level 3 normal monster, and then you would use that normal monster to normal summon, but we'll go into more details about that in a bit. We have the one burner, like I said, run one of every baby ruler generally. We're gonna run three Materia Actor Gigadras. This guy is probably one of your main starters in Materia Actors. You summon this guy, discard a card to then special summon a level 3 normal. But if you did happen to discard a normal monster, you can special summon any Materia Actors. There's certain combos you can do with this, and maybe if I get lucky with the simulator, I can show you guys what that would look like. The one Lightning. We're going to run three Materiactor Zepwing. This is a very important extender for the Materiactor combo, so we definitely want three of these. I run one Nebulous. I don't know if we really need one. I might just drop him for like a hand trap or two, like a hand trap maybe, like Ash Blossom or Infinite or something. I feel like I almost never use this guy. Most of the time he just ends up being discard slash banish fodder, so we'll see. Then we run three Spectrals. This is the only baby ruler you need to run three of, because this guy searches basically your entire Dragon Ruler engine. We're going to run the new normal monster that Materiactors just got, the Prima Materiactor. We sometimes use his Pendulum effect, but we rarely bring it up often. It depends. If I have like 2 copies in my hand, then maybe we'll go ahead and use the pendulum, but very often it doesn't come up. We're gonna run 1 gold sarcophagus so we can banish a blaster to get a Zeptwing or burner, or you can banish one of the other big rulers to get one of the baby rulers, depending on your hand. But so far, I found it by banishing blaster and going into Zeptwing or burner is probably the best choice at the moment. I'd like to run 3 Primite Roars. These haven't come up very often in my simulations or in my like test hands and such, but it's just the easiest way to get Prima Materiactor out on the field. We're going to run 1 Sanguine Kaiman. This helps you find your Materiactor, Zepwing, or Burner, so this is just another searcher. 3 Materiactor Meltdowns. This is like a great combo piece for your Materiactor lineup. This helps you set up your deck, and I can show you in a bit what that would look like. Next, we got a full armored Xyz. This is a really funny card. This actually has fun potential for the dragon rulers. I'll show you what it looks like if we get lucky. And personally, I like running 2 Materiactor Critical. This is your Omni Negate. Very fun card to use on your opponent because most of the time no one really expects a counter trap. And so that's my 40 deck list for the main deck. Again, there's probably like a few things here and there we can change up. Like we can maybe get rid of 1 blaster, get rid of a Nebulous to fit in like 2 hand traps, like a Nibiru or something. But this is what I've come up with. For the extra deck, we're running 2 Chasmas. So Chasma, when he's summoned, on a quick effect, well, it's not when he's summoned, but it's a quick effect, so you can activate it whenever. He can detach a material and send one of the dragon rulers to your graveyard from deck to graveyard, and then he'll copy its discarded effect. So if you discard Blaster, you target a card on the field and destroy it. If you discard Tidal, you mill a card from your deck. If you send Tempest, you get to search for any dragon, and if you send Redox, you get to special summon any card. So it's very versatile. Let me just read this just to make sure. Then target 1 monster. Yeah. So it's very versatile. During your turn, you're either going to Tempest or Redox to either add any dragon or special summon any monster from your graveyard, depending on what your setup is. And during your opponent's turn, you'll most likely send Blaster so you can pop a card on your opponent's turn. We run full armored Dark Knight Lancer to take advantage of full armored Xyz's full advantage. I'll show you what this kind of looks like, but you would basically banish full armored Xyz to equip an Xyz monster to a different Xyz monster, and then when a card becomes equipped to an Xyz monster, this guy will non-target take a monster from your opponent and attach it to this card as material, so it's very good removal. We run 2 Eclipses. He is essentially your spell and trap negate / banish, so he's pretty good. He also has a special summon feature whenever he's special summoned, but I haven't found any way to make use of it yet. If someone has a suggestion, I'm always open-minded. We run 1 Disaster. This is where full armored Xyz comes in play. So Disaster says it needs 2 rank 7 monsters, which so happen to be your Chasma and Eclipse. When you use full armored Xyz, you're supposed to use Xyz monsters you control to go into a different 2 Xyz summon. So you would use the 1 Eclipse and the 1 Chasma to go into Disaster. Then presumably you have one of every attribute Dragon Ruler, and you would then attach them to Disaster, who would then banish every monster your opponent controls or in the graveyard that shares the same attribute that's attached to Disaster. Maybe I can show you what that looks like if the simulation runs well. We got Xyz Armor Fortress. This is just an extended so we can guarantee finding a full armored Xyz. Xyz Armor Torpedo, we use this guy to draw a card and he will rank up into Xyz Armor Fortress, and who would then rank up into full armor Dark Knight Lancer. I'm currently planning on running 2 Materiactor Exoguards. Originally I was thinking of 3, but maybe we can fit 3, it depends. This guy is one of your main extenders / searchers for the Materiactors. So he's pretty useful. He also has a monster bounce whenever your opponent, or any bounce rather, whenever your opponent normals or special summons a monster and you control it, and you have a normal monster in your graveyard, he can bounce any card on the field. We run a Cicada King as a generic negate. I don't know if he's really necessary. We can maybe drop him for something a little bit more generic or something a little bit more useful. Haven't really decided yet. We're running the Utopic Future cards for the Utopic Future and Utopic Draco Future. This only works if maybe you drew into full armored Xyz, making Xyz Armor Fortress kind of useless. So you would just go into a Xyz Armor Torpedo, overlay him and Exegard together to make the Utopic Future, to then go into Draco Future to give you a nice negate. But with one copy, it shouldn't happen too often, but whenever I do test hands, I feel like this always comes up. Then we're just running two generic Link monsters and SP Lil Knight and Heradic Seal, the Heavenly Spheres. Very often I don't run into these, or I don't usually use these, but we run them anyways because of how generic they are. So I'm going to try and do like a few a combo or two to try and show you what it looks like. So unfortunately this is a pretty bad hand. However, because we got Primite Roar, we can actually start off with something. So we're going to go ahead and use Primite Roar. We're going to call Prima Materiactor to go ahead and summon a copy of it. We're then going to normal summon the one we have in our hand, and we're going to go ahead and go into Exegard. So now with Exegard's effect, we're going to discard one of these, and we're going to special summon Zeptwing. This is why Zeptwing I feel is very important. We go ahead and get Zeptwing. We're going to use its effect. I'll probably pick up Exoraptor because we can probably discard Blaster for it. And then we'll go ahead and special summon the Prima Materiactor that we just sent to the graveyard. So now those two are in the graveyard, so we're going to activate Materiactor Meltdown. We're going to stack the top 6 cards of our deck right now using its effect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got one Materiactor card, which is the Prima Materiactor. I probably shouldn't have added it to my hand, but that's fine because now it makes Exoraptor a little useless in our hand. But we can actually now stack this accordingly into a way we kind of want to. So we're going to put Spectral first so we can draw into it. I kind of don't want more blasters, so I'm going to go ahead and put something like Tidal second, Redox third, and that's it. So we'll put that. Now we could add a card attached to the rank 3, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea at this point. So let's go ahead and do that so we can have an extra card in our hand. So now at this point, we're going to go into Armored Xyz. First, we're going to activate this as a Pendulum Effect. Use it to target him. It's going to attach itself and we draw a card. So now we have Spectral in our hand. Then we're going to activate Xyz Armor Torpedo. We're going to detach both to draw a card, and because of Meltdown, we're going to attach the top card of our deck to Exegard, which will now give us Redox. So now, here's where the fun begins. We're going to go ahead and overlay this guy into Armored Fortress. We're going to first, we're going to search, detach him to search for full Armored Xyz. We're going to attach another card to the from the top to Exegard, which happens to be a Primate Roar, not necessary. So we're going to, I forgot to adjust this so you guys can see a little bit better. I'm so sorry about that. So we're now going to discard Spectral with Blaster, and then we're going to grab a Lightning and a Redox to our hand. So now Lightning will discard itself with Redox to summon out Tempest. I forgot to actually summon this guy into full Armored Lancer. So next we're going to use Blaster's effect. We're going to banish the Zeptwing and a Spectral to summon out Blaster. We're going to use these two to go into Chasma. Chasma's effect will then activate. We're going to send Tempest and Tempest again, which will then, sorry, I'm like reading sometimes hurts. We'll get, I have, where's my second Redux? It's in here, right? Yeah, so, we'll get Stream, because oh no, wait, the second title's in my hand, right? Oh no, the second title's in the graveyard still, should be in my deck. Yeah, so we're going to discard Stream with the title to summon out our title. And then the Tempest will go ahead and banish the 2 baby rulers here. Then this one will go into Eclipse into there. And then his effect is you can special summon a different dragon ruler, but like I said, I haven't really found a way to make it work. We do have a third Prima Materiactor. We could activate it just for the sake of giving our monsters even more attack, which in my opinion is not necessary. I mean, 3,700. It's a 700 attack boost, so it makes all these cards pretty beefy. So maybe it's worth it, but like I said, I don't think it's like super worth. So but the most important thing is you gotta make sure you have at least one normal monster, excuse me, in the graveyard. So now, because of like the way we have this set up, so the opponent normal summons, we're going to ignore it and not use Exegard's effect. I do kind of want to show it off, but I want to show off the full armored Xyz first. So opponent sets a card. We can go ahead and use Chasma's effect, sending a blaster to go ahead and target and destroy it. Okay, so then they set another card. Now they activate Umi. We'll use like Eclipse's effect, for example, to go ahead and detach both to negate and banish. See, it gets banished. So now they're about to enter their next phase, so let's go ahead and say full armored Xyz. Because of this, we're allowed to go into Disaster. So we summon Disaster using those two. Disaster's effect then activates where we target 1 fire, 1 water, 1 wind, and 1 earth to then equip it to him. And then because now you get to banish all monsters your opponent controls and in the graveyard with the same attributes. So because you essentially have everything that isn't divine, you essentially get to board wipe your opponent, more or less. So that's a pretty interesting combo in my opinion. Let me try and pull up another example if possible. Sorry. Okay. So let's do another one. So this one's a little worse, but it's fine. We can make it work. We'll go on normal summon. So Zeptwing has 2 effects. If you control a Materiactor card, any card, it could be, including the spell. They also have a field spell, but in my opinion, the field spell is just not worth it. You can special summon Zeptwing. So we're going to special summon Zeptwing, but do not activate its effect at this time. Keep it. Don't use its on summon effect. Instead, we're going to go into the Exegard. We're going to use its effect to detach that to then get our another copy of Zeptwing. This Zeptwing will then activate its effect to add a card. We'll go and get Materiactor Meltdown, and then this one will special summon the Prima that's in our graveyard. Because if you activate the Zeptwing too early, you won't be able to pull this combo off. So we're going to activate this and we're going to search and look at the top 6, see what we have. So we got a Gigadra, we can go ahead and add that to our hand. So then we're going to stack this. 1, 2, we kind of don't need this. Unfortunately, Primate Roar actually sucks with Prima Materiactor because Prima Materiactor has 0 attack. So Primate Roar might not be the best option, but it's one of the better things I can find for this deck. If you guys have any better suggestions, then go ahead. One thing I was kind of thinking of doing was running Chosen by the World Chalice because he has the highest attack for a level 3 normal monster. So we'll do 1. I don't think the order really matters as long as we get Spectral first. So I think this is fine. We're going to keep the Zeptwing attached for now because we need to guarantee ourselves a Materiactor is attached to this guy because his effect When your opponent normals or special summons, you can add up to 2 materials from this card to your hand, including a Materiactor card. Then, if a normal monster is in your graveyard, you can return 1 card on the field. So you need to make sure you always have a Materiactor attached to this guy at all times. So we're going to go ahead and overlay again to Armored Torpedo. Use his effect to draw that card. Then we're going to attach the top card, which is another Spectral, which would help us for like our follow-up turn, if anything. So we're going to discard Spectral. Let's discard the title. And we'll add a Lightning and a Redox to our hand. So we're going to go ahead and go into Armor Fortress. Use his effect to detach to get the full Armored XCs. We're going to attach another card here to see what we happen to get. It's a Exoraptor, so either you can return up to 2 of these cards whenever your opponent normals or special summon, and these are all good choices to add back to our hand. So we're going to activate Lightning's effect. We're going to discard it and Blaster to summon out Lightning. We're going to summon out the full armored Dark Lancer that I keep forgetting to summon. We're going to use Blaster's effect to summon itself, banishing Spectral and Lightning. And then again, you just kind of do the same combo we did previously, where you summon the Chasma, activate Chasma's effect, and then this time we could probably send Redox instead. We'll send Tempest, because we haven't summoned out Tempest yet. So we'll use it to like revive Tempest. And then we can activate Title's effect to banish one of the Zeptwings, and we could probably banish like the second Redox, because we have a Redox in our hand. We can activate Redox just to get Redicon to our Rakton to our hand as discard fodder for like a follow-up turn or something. Go into Eclipse, and then there. That's pretty much the combo. Now, unfortunately, this time around we don't have our Omni Negate, but your opponent still has to play through a Target Destruction, a Monster Bounce, a Spell and Trap Banish, then they have to play through Disaster hitting the field because of full Armored XCs, and then because of full Armored XCs effect in the graveyard, you would activate this to attach full Armored Dark. You would use it to attach XC's Armored Torpedo in your graveyard to full Armored Dark Knight Lancer, who would then take a card from your opponent, because it says here once per turn, if an equipped card becomes equipped to a monster you control, you can attach 1 monster your opponent controls to this card as material, and that actually works with this. I will show you now what it looks like. So we'll go ahead and we won't use that, but we'll use this to go ahead and go into Disaster real quick. And then we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have one of each attribute. We're going to attach them. Now we don't want to banish because I want to show the example. And then, so now you're going to banish full Armored XCs. You target him to attach him with this. Now it says activate the trigger effect of full Armored Dark Knight Lancer. You activate that. And then you take their monster. Like I said, it's a non-targeting effect. So it's if you happen to be going against like a Mirror Jade or something as an example, you take the Mirror Jade without even targeting. You're up against Mech Knight Crusadia. Cool, take Mech Knight Crusadia because he's not protected by that. He's only protected by targeting, and if it's like with he's protected by destruction, I believe. And then if IP was a material, protects him from targeting or something, or from destruction. One of the two. I always forget how it is. So Dark Knight Full Lancer is a way around a Crusadia as an example. So I think, in my opinion, this deck is pretty cool. It's not like S tier or anything like Blue Eyes or Raizio or Malice or anything, but this deck can definitely hold its own, in my opinion. Especially once you have a Disaster on the field with a 4600 attack body and who's unaffected by everything, as it says. Also, it is unaffected by other card effects, so pretty fun deck. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and if you think there's any way we can improve this, please let me know. I'm also going to try and write down the list in like the deck list and like the comments, so that way it's an easier access, because that's one thing I've always found kind of annoying is when I look at people's deck list, I don't see a list of the deck list, and I would like to see what the deck list looks like rather than having to watch the whole video. which is what I understand what the point is, but I personally would like to have a physical deck list that I can kind of just read. Not physical, but you get what I mean, I hope. And with that, I say bye, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you.